Hello and welcome to a short introduction to the Corporate Due Diligence Monitor by the UN Global Compact Network Germany. The monitor summarizes our analysis of 313 company reports by 254 companies as part of the German Supply Chain Due Diligence Act, or LKSG. We looked at the first phase of reporting, meaning companies with more than 3,000 employees over the course of the years 2023 and 2024. Now, this monitor summarizes about 42,000 data points, and you can take a closer look at these along three normative frameworks that we analyze as part of the monitor, namely the German Supply Chain Due Diligence Act, or LKSG, which you can see here, the UN Guiding Principles, or UNGP, and the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. Now, you can apply these three filters throughout, so be sure to pick out the framework that you want to take a closer look at. Let's stick with the CSDD for now and take a look at this first view of the dashboard, which allows you to differentiate at a first glance how these 254 companies disclose what they're doing in terms of human rights due diligence along 166 indicators that we analyze. These 166 indicators are divided along 141 human rights practices and 25 effectiveness metrics. Now you can see here for the different articles that the darker the color, the higher the prevalence or percentage of companies that implement the indicator in question. You can also see a summary here on the side. Now, if you want to dive deep into a specific article or due diligence element, you can go to this visualization under B, where, for example, we can take a closer look at Article 9 under the CSDD. You will have a description of the indicators, the prevalence with which they're implemented, and can already see that you can access a good practice example for all 166 indicators, which are linked here at the side. Under C, you can see a short overview of the maturity of these 254 companies. Again, alongside the 141 human rights practices and the 25 effectiveness metrics, meaning are these companies tending more towards a kind of implementation of systems, or are they already combining processes with effectiveness measurement? You can find a short explanation of both methods, the frameworks down here, and then a list of the 254 companies which are included in our sample. Now, the second tab you can click here goes back to the good practices I mentioned just a moment ago. You can search both by keywords, but also again along the different kind of frameworks you have here. For example, GP16, if you want to take a closer look at, is listed right here, where you can then go on View Example to take a closer look at these 166 good practice example, which we've listed for the 166 indicators. If you click on this, you will have a short description of the indicator, an excerpt, also including an excerpt from the German Supply Chain Due Diligence Act report, a short explanation by us why we believe that this example in particular stands out, as well as once again, a short percentage of which companies are currently disclosing this and which aren't. In the next tab, you can find an overview of the practice indicator definitions, and our last tab leads us to the peer benchmarking, which allows for a comparison along the different sectors. Now, you'll note that we'll have a few sectors in here, which is 2 or 3 companies. Of course, these averages aren't as reliable as those with the larger sample. Again, you can take a closer look at both the practices and the effectiveness metrics. Those with a green marking here on the side with the corresponding percentage points are a little bit above average. Those with red tend to be a little bit below average. You can find all of the different sectors here. You can also filter by company size or by different regime. At the bottom, you'll find a spider diagram where you can, again, filter for those factors for LKSG, for UN Guiding Principles, and CSDD. Now, where it gets interesting is if you click on regime, you can filter for certain industry. Let's say, for example, electronics. You can then go for example, the CSDD, click on one specific article and get a detailed overview of all of the indicators included, as well as whether this specific sector ranks above or below average. Here you can also find an overview of all of the companies that have been included in this specific sector sample. Now, if you have any questions regarding this, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team via info@globalcompact.de. And if you want to take a closer look at our analysis of these reports and not just the data itself, feel free to use this link to access our publications that are published alongside the monitor to take a closer look at all of the interesting facts and tidbits that we've collected from this analysis. Thank you so much for your attention.